This is why we play close-ups £100 million to bring Lukaku back to Stamford Bridge, you guys. In the past 2 games, he's had only 3 shots on target throughout the entire game. And from those 3 shots, he has scored 3 times. That is how clinical Lukaku is. That is how world-class this game is right now. And the difference he's brought to this team has been absolutely outstanding. It's been so transformative. And honestly, whatever we do this season, it will fall down to Lukaku and what he does for us. Honestly, it feels like a cheat code at times. His hold-up play, the way he holds defenders off as well, the platform in which he sets himself up for the team as well too. He's like, you can't drop him out of the team. He's one of our best players by far. And I absolutely love that goal he scored. You know, that's the type of goal that we haven't been able to score now for a few seasons. You know, Lukaku, he looked directly at Azpilicueta. He peeled off to the far post. He was telling Aspi exactly what he wanted to do, and he made Aspi's life very easy. I think the last time we saw this actually was between Azpilicueta and Morata all those seasons back. And of course, Lukaku can do that to a better level than whatever we saw from Morata. And of course, when Aspi played that cross in, you guys, Lukaku got to simply cushion that ball in to the near post, and that is the difference. That one piece of play. Having a striker that tells his teammates where he wants the ball. That trust that his teammates have in him. As I'm stressing you guys, whatever we do this season will come down and fall exclusively on Romelu Lukaku. In today's match review, I'm going to break down the game, players that stood out, and things we learned from this game as well. So I hope you guys do enjoy. You know, smash that like button, get involved in the comments. Without wasting any more time, we kick things off and we start with the lineup. And I guess the most surprising news at the time was seeing that Ben Chilwell was not part of the team. And now we've played a few games in the season. He's still not got any minutes until his cameo near when the game was ending. And you're hoping now, you know, when's he going to get back in the team? Because it really did feel, especially in that first half, because this was like a game of 2 halves. I got to say, massive credit goes to Zenit St. Petersburg. You know, their mid-block structure and setup, they were very disciplined, very organized. You know, the amount of work they were doing. It was the type of work where it's like, okay, there's no way they can keep that intensity up throughout the entire 90 minutes without more spaces opening up and, of course, more areas for us to affect them. It was one of those games where you had to be patient and, you know, remember that there's another half to come as well too. So, to be honest with you guys, I didn't necessarily feel like this was a terrible performance. If anything, it's the type of performance that we have seen before many a time, last season throughout. Teams that set up in that mid-block structure, you know, not wanting to press us, wanting to stop us playing out through the middle, wanting to stop us finding our guys between the lines in the half spaces. You know, that's how they're playing right now. And of course, the wide men are dragging back to help, you know, match the runs of our wing backs. So it makes it very hard to break these types of teams down. And I guess the only way we can do that actually is with the individual quality. Maybe at times players can maybe look to drive the ball a bit more. It felt like throughout that first half, the only player that was bringing any danger, any threat, it really just changing the tempo and pace of our attacks, which is the most important thing, because for too long in that first half, it was one note, it was a bit tepid at times, and the player to change that was Mason Mount. Now, of course, from like an end product point of view, this was a very difficult game for him and for Ziyech as well. You know, this was a very difficult game today for the Cams because, you know, they were outmanned left, right and centre. You know, Zenit did so well to stop the supply coming towards them between the lines. And whenever they did touch the ball and receive it in those areas, they had about 4 players cycling around them. So throughout the entire game, they were both forced to play these like low probability chances to find like 1 or 2 figures who are isolated already up front beside them. So, you know, of course, you always want to expect better end product, but at the same time, I do feel like you do need to have realistic expectations. And, you know, one thing that can't be denied for Mason Mount today was, as I stress, how he kept changing the tempo and speeding up our attacks. You know, how many times was he receiving the half turn? That immediately just boosts the tempo of our attack. You know, how many times was he willing to carry the ball and drive at people, drive at opponents as well too? You know, he was constantly roaming between the lines, looking to find areas as well too to, you know, affect Zenit St. Petersburg. And anytime we received the ball, he was looking to find Lukaku. So for me, again, you know, he proves that he's one of the standout guys that his teammates can rely upon in games. And the thing is, as he develops and as the seasons go on, you know, his execution in these moments will get better and better and better. But regardless, you guys, it did feel like Zenit St. Petersburg were kind of like our yin to our yang. both teams cancelled each other out. I think one area in which we really struggled in was really disrupting their defensive shape. A really good way to do that actually is by, having pace in behinds, especially down the flanks, to stretch them high and wide. You want players in those areas who can make those types of, overlapping runs, because one type of pass that was constantly missing throughout the game today was those deep searching passes from our wide centre backs. I mean, how often do we see Rudiger, for example, down that left hand side, looking to spray the ball diagonally 70 yards, looking to find a runner in behind? I mean, it happens time and time again. And today, Zenit really forced us for large portions of this game to play in front of their defence. So, credit has to go to them because they are the champions of Russia and they are a decent team with decent players as well. So, of course, you guys, the second half comes up and immediately we had to boost and increase the tempo. And it felt like we definitely did that. A part of me felt like it was a combination of Zenit maybe tiring as well and, opening more chances for us as well too. But it felt like the players were looking to drive and push on a lot more. In particular, we saw Rudiger and Azpilicueta really being involved heavily, a lot more in the second half, really taking up some higher positions at times too, carrying the ball forward, driving. We saw one excellent moment in the game where, Rudiger was on his Kazuma and, you were just crossing your fingers hoping, okay, is this finally going to be the moment that Rudiger actually pulls it for Golazo and actually scores from one of these efforts? It was close. In this particular moment, he couldn't wrap his foot around the ball, but let's hope that it does come this season, man, because I think that is all Rudiger's currently missing from his world-class CV. In this game today, he was so crucial at making those, last-ditch interceptions and tackles. In terms of how he just, commands his zones, he's excellent. He was constantly supporting Marcos Alonso, who, once or twice, Malcolm was able to get past him and beat him. The moment Malcolm was up against Rudiger, it wasn't a competition, it wasn't a fight, because Rudiger easily just outclassed him. So massive credit goes to Rudiger, and please, let's secure this guy's contract, because I think right now, we just can't afford to lose him, because he's by far one of the best defenders in the world right now. But regardless, you guys, it felt like we were playing more direct passes through to Lukaku, and when you have Lukaku up front acting as that platform, he encourages support runs off of him. And I felt like that was what we were lacking a lot more in the second half. A lot of the stuff was in front of Zenit. You don't want to see that. And I think in particular, that's why we saw Reece James, for example, actually finding himself inside the box a few times. We were constantly looking to use him in behind, because with Marcos Alonso, there's no pace. And I don't actually think Alonso was bad today, but it's one of those games where you just know that he has his limits. And I think sometimes that pace in behind is so important at stretching teams and keeping them occupied. But regardless, Tuchel looked to make some subs in this game to just, keep the formation and system, but to change the personnel up. And I do find that quite interesting. It's not the first time that we've played against teams like this who just want to, keep that mid-block structure, don't want to press high, just want to, nullify our attacks, basically. And I'm worried that this potentially could bite us in the butt as the season does go on, because already we're seeing a few more teams clock onto this. They're really stopping us playing out from the middle. Today, Zenit had 4 players in that midfield line, alongside Kovacic and Jorginho, and they were forcing us to play these balls out wide to find your Alonsos and Jameses. And of course, we had no threat in behind, and it was very easy for them to defend. The changes made were good from Tuchel, but a part of me still feels like maybe having a new formation, like a 4-3-3, just for games like this against opponents like this. I feel like we'd be controlling our own destiny in that sense. But I mean, who knows? That's only my take. I'm not the football manager. And when you have someone like Lukaku up front, who's an absolute cheat code in the system, who, again, his clinical finishing is on a different level. Last season, a game like this is ending a draw. But with Lukaku in the team right now, these draws turn into wins, and those points will just keep piling on and piling on and piling on. So, it's one of those games where I'm not feeling angry or upset with the team, because, a lot of credit goes to Zenit today for showing us a lot of respect, working very hard as well too, and of course doing their bit to try and nullify us in the game today. I mean, it's going to happen. We're the European champions. This will be the energy that a lot of teams are going to have for us, and I wouldn't be surprised when we see Juventus showing us respect later on when we play them in the group stage. So, it's one of those games where we could have happily just got the point, even though it'd be quite disappointing in a moment like this. But With the quality we possess now in those decisive moments which we lacked beforehand, these draws are now going to turn into wins, you guys. So on that note, I'm going to wrap things up and keep things moving. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the match review, and of course leave your thoughts and opinions below in the comments. What was the one key talking point that really stood out to you in the game today? Let us all know below. And on that note, I'm EFC, this is Blue Lions TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.